My name is John Flynn. I'm a tour guide on Spike Island, and we're actually in the punishment block here today. Basically, the building that you see here today is the only purpose-built building on Spike Island. It was built in the 1850s, and it would have housed convicts for isolation purpose. The isolation would have meant that people would have stayed here, and this building was well known for its coldness, how dreary it was, and people would have spent a couple of weeks in here, and they would have got no vegetables or meat on a Sunday, like the rest of the prisoners would have got as well. The most famous person that was in here was John Mitchel, and the whole fort of Spike Island is called after John Mitchel. He was a young islander, and he basically said that in the terms of Ireland getting its independence from England, they should use arms. And he was arrested. He was spent a few nights here, and he was sent to Van Diemen's Land. The building then became a military prison as well in the times of the Navy that were here. So basically the whole lot of the building would have housed convicts, but not as a normal jail. They would be sent here for isolation and punishment. The whole circle of the prison would have been that the British Army would have been here. About 1843 to about 1883, the convicts would have been housed there. Now basically what that meant was that convicts would stay here, they would wait for convict ships to come in, and they would be sent away. Also there was actually hulk boats in the harbour as well that would have housed some of the convicts as well. And also we researched that some of the convicts on Spike Island actually built the military hospital in Cobh. There was a bridge that linked Harbour Road and Spike Island, and on a daily basis the convicts would walk the Causeway Bridge, and they would then go to Harbour Road and build the actual premises that were on the island. The prison was out of bounds for almost 200 years, between it being a convict depot, a prison, a military camp. So it's only now that people are starting to get on the island. People must understand too that this island actually hosts families. So families would have been on the island, so if your father was in the army back then, the family stayed on the island too, and the military side was up in the fort area where the family was down by the shoreline. So they had their own village, they had their own school, they would have, it was their playground, it was their private island. So in 1985, A block and a bit of the Mitchel Hall, the prisoners started rioting and stayed up there, and the place was on fire. So for security reasons, the last families left in around 85, and they were rehoused in Cobh. The future Spike Island is they're trying to open as a tourist attraction where people are going to be told stories of transportation, the convicts, family life, social history. Myself and a colleague of mine are, at the moment we're researching. We have researched all Spike Island, but we're now doing the social history of it as well. A lot of people that come here, they love to walk around the island, the views, but you also get the sense of what it's like to be a prisoner here. The modern cells are open for the public. The John Mitchel cell is open. The Mitchel block that we're in is the punishment block is open. The Mitchel Hall is open. There's going to be museums for people as well, which will kind of go like the Navy Museum, the Army Museum, and the social life. Families have photographs of them when they were kids and so on the island as well. One of the questions that they were asked was that a lot of these people that come on the big cruise liners come in, they would have visited Alcatraz as well, and they say that's actually the potential here is a lot better because there's more history here, being at the military side of it, where Alcatraz was just a prison. I suppose when you look around and see all the buildings, you see a lot of old buildings and stuff like that. The 1915 block was a British officers building. So the A block back in the 1800s would have housed British soldiers, maybe 400 or 500 of them, whereas the block in 1915, which is the similar size, would have housed the officers. So that means that the higher you were in the army, the more space you had. Basically the story there was that there was a man, a British officer, he was in the accounting side of it, and there was a lot of money and materials and that going missing. I think him while he was stealing it, so we don't know if it was accidentally, but we think it wasn't, that he purposely burned the building down, and that's why it's known as the 1915 burn block. So it's amazing that that's burnt down, A block is burnt down, a lot of the Mitchel Hall is burnt down, but as you can see, it's kind of reverting back to where it's going now, and a lot of the buildings are being done up as well. The little brief history that I gave you today of Spike Island. I also do tours at Cobh. It's Cobh Cathedral, the bell, the crypt, which is underneath the cathedral, and the bridal prison, which was under the cathedral at one time, and the cells are still there today. And then we do the Lusitania story, which I believe personally affected Cobh in a big way compared to other tragedies like Titanic and stuff like that. So all that and information of Cobh is on my website. My name is John Flynn, and the website is called cobhtowntours.com, with the Facebook page, which is very interactive. It's Cobh Town History and Tours.